Now that we've gotten most of the class done, there's a few things left to do. I want to go back now and I want to add what we call constructors. Now, it requires me to explain a few things. Okay, let's go into our main routine. We'll say more main.cpp. Now you'll see this line of code right here, and let me go ahead and edit it. Pico main.cpp and put it right here. Okay. At this point, it calls what we call the default constructor. Now what a constructor does is at the time that an object is created, which is at this particular point right here, it goes in and it initializes or runs a program to initialize all of the data items. Every class comes with a default constructor. You don't have to create one. Okay, it's a good idea to do so though. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you how to create two of them. Okay, so we'll get out of this. Yes, clear. Okay, so we'll go into our box.h. Okay, and we're going to create the constructors. I almost always put the constructors up at the top of the public portion. You don't have to. You can put them anywhere. We know a constructor because it has two features. It has no return type, neither character, int, or anything else, nor void, and it has the same name as the class itself, box. Okay, there is our default constructor. Okay, or I should say replaces the default constructor. Now we're going to create another one. Again, box, but we're going to give it different parameters. Now we can do this, it's called overloading, which is a feature we'll talk about later in the class, as long as it has different signatures. In other words, a different return type and or a different type and number of parameters. So we're going to say const int for s size. Okay, then we're going to say const character, say B for border, and then we're going to give it a default of default border character, and then constant character F equal default fill. Now you'll notice that I didn't give it a default size. Okay, but if these are missing, if the fill is missing, it will use the default character. If the border is missing, then the default fill has to be missing too. If the default fill is missing and default border is missing, you'll get the default border character. If the integers are there, you must pass it in. If all three are missing, then it will use this one up here, the default constructor. So if I were to put a default size right there, these two would be redundant, and it wouldn't like that. All right. All right, very good. Let's save this, and let's go in and modify our CPP to correspond to that. Again, I like to put them up at the top. Okay, box colon colon box. We have to give it permission to access our private data items, and this is where it gets real simple. Okay, really not very complex at all. Okay, in box, all we do is we call set size, and we give it the we pass in the default size. Okay, we say set border, and we pass in the default border, and we say set fill, and we pass in the default fill. Okay, now then, let's go do our constructor with the three parameters passed in. It's not much more complex. Colon colon box const int s, const character b, and const character f. And you'll notice that we didn't put the default values in here. That's only done in the .h file. and it's the same code right here, except we say set size, we pass in S, we say set border, we pass in B, and we say set fill, and we pass in F. Okay, and those functions which we've already written, or members as we call them, will take care of determining whether those characters that were passed in were valid or not. Well, okay, this is great. Now then, let's go test it. Okay, let's go over here, clear, and we'll edit our main.cpp. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a couple of, we're going to say box, my box 2. Okay, and we already got our default constructor there, so we know that works. We don't have to worry about that. Alright, so let's pass in a size of 4. So there's one parameter. My box, I want to make this 2, excuse me. 3, we'll pass in 5 with a fill character of a and sign. And my box 4 with say 35 with a border character of an @ sign. That looks pretty good. And with a fill character of, let's pick a different one. Oh, the carrot hat. Okay, very good. Alright, so those look pretty good. Now, let's go ahead and save this and run our make utility. Everything looks good. Main, that looks fine. Now, I'm going to leave this like it is. We're actually going to do some further testing it in the next video. Let me more box.h. Let me show you the entire routine right there. I want you to get your box.h, boxCPP, and your main routine to do this. What we're going to do next is we're actually going to write a summary report, or a summary for this, which will allow us to do some further testing on the constructors that we passed in. The summaries actually prints the values out. We're going to do a stub of a draw too. The last video we'll do will actually be drawing the box. That actually takes a little bit of time. It's the most difficult part of this assignment, and we have to do it in several steps. Hopefully this video will be very useful to you. Get it to this point, and then let's go finish it.